It was November 2008 when Gay Talk Radio was started. It is an effort to enlighten, empower, and strengthen those in our LGBTQIA family. Hope you enjoy the piece on Scientology. We'll talk to you on the other side.
Today. I'm pissed about all things related to Scientology. In April 1950, L. Ron Hubbard and several others established the Hubbard Dianetic Research Foundation in Elizabeth, New Jersey, to coordinate work related to Hubbard's forthcoming publication, Dianetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health. The book became widely popular and brought in a sizable revenue. However, in January 1951, the New Jersey Board of Medical Examiners instituted proceedings against the Hubbard Dianetic Research Foundation in Elizabeth for teaching medicine without a license, which eventually led to the organization's bankruptcy. Many of L. Ron Hubbard's fellow science fiction authors and research have stated, L. Ron Hubbard said on several occasions, that the way to get rich was to start a religion. In fact, a May 1980 Reader's Digest article quotes L. Ron Hubbard as stating, if a man really wants to make $1 million, the best way would be to start his own religion. Scientology was recognized as a tax-exempt religion in the United States in 1957. But 10 years later, in 1967, the IRS removed its tax-exempt status, asserting that its activities were commercial and operating for the benefit of Mr. Hubbard rather than for charitable or religious reasons. Later, in December of 1993, the IRS would grant full tax exemption to all Scientology churches, missions, and organizations. The tax-exempt status emerged after a Scientology campaign against the IRS erupted. In 1991, Mr. Miscavige, the highest-ranking Scientology leader, walked in to see Fred T. Goldberg, Jr., the Commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service at the time, without an appointment. He was later seen and allegedly offered to halt the lawsuit Scientology had against the IRS in exchange for tax-exempt status. To this end, Goldberg allegedly ordered tax analysts to ignore multiple court precedents and other substantive issues during the review of the decision. Yeah. An organization called the Cult Awareness Network, who once provided assistance to former cult victims, received more complaints concerning Scientology than any other group. By December 1996, persons connected to the Church of Scientology had filed over 50 lawsuits against the Cult Awareness Network, which eventually forced it into bankruptcy. In 1997, the Church of Scientology consequently bought the Cult Awareness Network in bankruptcy court, and it now operates it as a promotional arm for the Church of Scientology itself. That's two instances of strong-arming, folks, just in case you're keeping count. The church promotes a type of counseling called auditing as a means of spiritual rehabilitation. Scientology runs several promotion campaigns, quote unquote, through closely related organizations in the form of a set of moral standards, an anti-drug program, an education methodology, a volunteer organization, and a business management method. These are all separate entities, folks, that make up Scientology. The Scientology Church is just a very small part of their organization. Scientology encourages existing members to sell Scientology to others, and they pay a commission to those who recruit new members. Scientology franchises, or missions, if you wish, must pay the Church of Scientology roughly 10% of their gross income. On that basis, it is likened to a pyramid selling scheme. This auditing thing that I mentioned a minute ago that they do, they charge for that. They charge for auditing and other church-related courses. And the charges for these things run into the tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. $10,000, $100,000 if you're a quote unquote, if you need to be audited for something you did wrong or went against the rules of the church, or to take a course, so that you can move up the ladder in the church. You pay for that. The controversies involving the church and its critics, some of them ongoing, include Scientology's disconnection policy, in which members are encouraged to cut off all contact with friends or family members considered antagonistic. So if someone doesn't like Scientology and they want to antagonize that, Scientologists are supposed to disown them. And it's another point where it's kind of controversial. The death of Scientologist Lisa McPherson while in the care of the church. Robert Minton sponsored a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Scientology for the death of McPherson. On May 2004, McPherson's estate and the Church of Scientology reached a settlement that, to this day, has remained confidential. Criminal activities committed on behalf of the church or directed by the church officials. Operation Snow White, Operation Freakout. I'll mention this in a little bit in more detail. Good morning, BTR Jason. Conflicted statements about L. Ron Hubbard's life, in particular accounts of Hubbard discussing his intent to start religion for profit and of his service in the military. Scientology's harassment and litigious actions against its critics, encouraged by its fair game policy. Attempts to legally force search engines such as Google and Yahoo to omit any web pages critical of Scientology from their search engines, and in Google's case, even AdSense, or at least the first few search pages. And let's see, a commonly held belief among Scientologists that psychiatry and psychology are destructive and abusive fields which must be abolished. The Church of Scientology is one of a number of groups involved in the anti-psychiatry movement, and one of the few organizations that publicly oppose the study and application of psychology in addition to psychiatry, claiming, listen to this, folks, Church of Scientology claims that psychiatry was responsible for World War I and the rise of Hitler and Stalin and the decline in education standards in the United States and the war in Bosnia and Kosovo and the September 11th attacks. psychiatry caused all of that. Okay, let me talk a little bit more here about L. Ron Hubbard, the guy who started the whole Scientology thing in 1952. He did so while living in Phoenix, Arizona. He also, previous to that, he started a health technique called Dianetics. And it basically transformed into Scientology. He had 3 wives, 7 children. While he was in Phoenix is where he met his 3rd wife. Her maiden name was Mary Sue Whipp. They had 4 children. Diana, Quentin, remember that name, you're going to hear more about it, Suzette, and Arthur. I might also note his wife was imprisoned due to her involvement in Operation Snow White, which I mentioned earlier. Operation Snow White was the Church of Scientology's name for a project during the 70s to purge unfavorable records about Scientology and its founder, L. Ron Hubbard. Are we getting the feeling, folks, of this being kind of weird, the way they're always trying to cover stuff and stop people from talking bad about it and try to strong-arm everybody and everything into what they want? Doesn't that kind of goes along with some of these other religious institutions, doesn't it? They become tax-free and then they use that because money is power. We all know that. So then next thing you know, they're imposing it upon us. Oh, let's see, what do we got? Good morning. I'm not sure how to say that. Treaty open? Treaty upon? Good morning to you. So anyway, I'm ranting about Scientology and L. Ron Hubbard right now. And I'm specifically, at this moment, talking about Operation Snow White. And so with Operation Snow White in the 70s, they wanted to purge unfavorable records about Scientology and its founder, L. Ron Hubbard. The project included a series of infiltrations and thefts from 136 government agencies, foreign embassies, and consulates, as well as private organizations critical of Scientology. It was carried out by church members, Scientology church members, in more than 30 countries, and was the single largest infiltration of the U.S. government in history, with up to 5,000 covert agents. Under this program, Scientology operatives committed infiltration, wiretappings, and theft of documents in government offices, most notably the U.S. Internal Revenue Service. Mary Sue Hubbard, which was L. Ron Hubbard's wife, Mary Sue Whipp, that I mentioned earlier, that he met in Phoenix, Arizona. Her, Cindy Raymond, Gerald Bennett Wolf, Henning Helt, Duke Snyder, George Willardson, Richard Wigand, Mitchell Herman, Sharon Thomas, Jane Kember, and Mo Budlong, all high-ranking Scientologists, were convicted and sent to prison for 5 years. 5 years. Why does that seem odd? 5 years. They had the largest infiltration into the U.S. government, and they get 5 years? They broke into the IRS and they get 5 years? Whatever. Okay, so you heard me mention their son, Quentin, earlier. Quentin was born in 1954, and he was the apple of his father's eye. He was being groomed to one day replace his father as the head of the Scientology organization. L. Ron Hubbard was determined to make Quentin the next leader of Scientology regardless of Quentin's desires. In fact, Quentin was not interested. He wanted to be a pilot. Friends and associates say Quentin was soft-spoken, ultra meticulous in his appearance, and struggled with his sexuality. Many say he was gay. You know, I find it interesting that the quote-unquote Church of Scientology, I personally consider them a cult, but that they had all these strong-arm tactics throughout their history, which is the point I tried to make here previously in the show, that everything's about strong-arming with them. And now we read that the father was strong-arming his own son. Just a little link I wanted to mention in case anyone didn't see it. Scientology doctrine classifies homosexuals as sexual perverts, quote unquote, and physically ill, quote unquote. L. Ron Hubbard's former public relations officer, Laurel Sullivan, is quoted as saying, L. Ron Hubbard thought Quentin was an embarrassment, and he told me that several times. Now, I'll get more into this in a minute, but in case you didn't know, because I got my articles a little out of order here. Quentin died when he was 22 from supposedly suicide. Bent Corrigan is quoted as stating, some 18 months prior to Quentin's death, my wife, while taking a Scientology course in Daytona Beach, Florida in 1975, observed Quentin running away from his father, who was coming down on an elevator. She describes his reaction upon discovering that his father was on the elevator, and it is, he paled dramatically and exclaimed, oh shit, it's Dad, I've got to get out of here. He sprinted up several flights of stairs. He had previously confided in her that he desperately needed help regarding his problems with his father. She says his emotion, when she witnessed him running from his father at that moment, was one of terror. She observed him again in early 1977 in Florida at the Flagland Base, which is one of their offices, not long before his death, and he looked devastated, she says, having again been placed in a lower ethics condition, quote unquote. It does not have been, in her opinion, it does not appear to have been a wonderful gift of fate to have been born the oldest son of L. Ron Hubbard. Officially, Quentin committed suicide in 1976 at the age of 22. But there are many highly suspicious aspects of this so-called suicide. For instance, although there had been a hose for, hello Watermark, good morning Watermark. Watermark, since you're here, I know tomorrow is Renee's surgery. I hope that all just has fantastic results. I'm running a little long on the show, so let me get moving forward here. I'm on this rant about Scientology. This is fixing to come to a head here in a minute. Although there, and I'm on the part where Quentin Hubbard, L. Ron Hubbard's son, committed suicide, supposedly. So although there had been a hose that ran from the car's window to the tailpipe, a test for carbon monoxide was negative. Police discovered Quentin unconscious in his car in Las Vegas on October 28, 1976, without any identifying documents. Quentin was found unkempt with a beard of stubble a state which no one who knew Quentin could accept because he was ultra meticulous, as I said earlier, about his appearance. The license plate of the car was missing and found under a rock some distance away. His wallet was gone, making identification impossible. A near-empty bottle of liquor was found, as if he had been drinking, but Quentin did not drink. There were needle marks on his arms, but Quentin did not use drugs. In an interview with Kima Douglas, who worked for the family, she said, I walked into L. Ron Hubbard's office at La Quinta at Rifle and took breakfast to him. The death report said there was sperm in the anal canal and Quentin had died of asphyxiation and carbon monoxide. There was an immediate cover-up. Documents were stolen from the coroner's office and taken to L. Ron Hubbard. Next time I saw the medical report, there was no mention of sperm. I saw it about 2 months later. I saw another death certificate that said there was a scar on the heart and the death was from unknown causes. Quentin's father's response was cold-blooded. He was furious that his son had let him down. He is quoted as saying, that stupid effing, he didn't say effing, that stupid effing kid, look what he's done to me.
You know, we always love our callers on the radio. Oh, it's just awesome when people call in, just especially the spontaneous ones, the ones that just like out of the blue, from nowhere. They weren't even in the chat room. They don't even have an idea what we're talking about. What they just call in, and they just got something to say. And it's interesting because sometimes you got to kind of dig it out of them a little bit. But I love this next caller named John. I just had to throw this one up for you. Hope you like it.
Goodness gracious, I already got a caller on the line. Hold on, let me bring this caller in and see what they have to say here. All right, we've got an anonymous caller on the line. You're on the air. Who am I speaking with?
John.
Did you say John?
Yeah.
What's up, John?
Nothing.
Nothing, huh? Did you have any questions or comments that you wanted to make? You want to tell us a story or something?
Well, no. I don't know. I was at the IGA the other day, and I was there with my boyfriend Billy, and obviously, we showed affection with each other, and someone looked at us all weird, and they said, like, I heard something under the breath of the word. They called me a faggot. Yeah, I mean that's just. I mean, I find that offensive.
Yeah, right. Just a little.
But I mean, just like, I believe there are there are faggots in the sense of the ones that are just like worse than women when it comes to like everything. Like they express it too much, and it's not like you can't be too proud of yourself. But it's like, dude, just chill out. I mean, is it necessary to really, be, act like that? I mean, it's just, and those are the gay guys that give you the bad rep. So, I don't know. And it just makes me mad.
Oh, I hear you.
I don't like this.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I'm of a little bit different opinion.
Well, it's like, it's kind of like, with racism, there's, people are like, oh, I'm not racist, but, I'll call someone the N-word, and it's, and it's like a different definition in a sense, and that's how I feel, like, okay, you're gay, but, there are, like, I even call, other gay guys, like, oh, dude, quit being a fag. you know. And it's just because I have some friends that, you know, are just over the top, and they're just like, stop, you know, it's too much.
Yeah, it's I think they you know, when there was the civil rights movement, and I know I'm going to probably get in trouble, but you know, it's kind of like a couple things. When in the N word, you know, when another black person calls another black person the N word, you know, it's taken in a different context, and it's similar that when a gay person calls another gay person a faggot, then that's taken in a different context. You know, it's not meant as a derogatory term so much so as it would be coming from a non-gay person. But I also think, you know, that it's kind of like the drag queens. You know, it's like when there was the black civil rights movement, you had the ones that were more flamboyant, the ones that had the big hair and the big shoes, and they were more flamboyant about their heritage. And I think it's the same thing in the gay community, and that's where you have the ones that are more flamboyant, and they're just, you know, once we get our rights and we get our respect, or at least some of it, I think we'll see some of that kind of dwindle a bit. You know, it's all part of the movement. You got the people that are more in your face, and the ones that aren't.
Yeah, and you know, I feel as if you know, they're the ones who give us the bad rep in the, you know, first place. So
well, yeah, there is some point. There's some points on both sides. It's like, you know, I'm a gay man, and you know, I've told some of those really effeminate guys before, you know, that have come on to me. I said, look, you know, if I wanted a girl, I'd go get me a real girl, not some guy acting like a girl.
Exactly.
You know. So yeah.
Well, and not even was that. I mean, there's some that just like, what, I mean, you have to honestly ask yourself, what the hell are they even like trying to do? You know, like how they act, and you know, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I honestly think some of them are just that way. You know, that's just how they are. You know, I mean, and it's like. You know, we just gotta let them be without. You know, there was a time that I was in a restaurant with a guy that was fairly flamboyant one time. I mean, we were in a breakfast brunch kind of thing, and in the general public, it wasn't no gay thing. And here this guy is just camping it up, you know. And I told him, you know, I made the mistake of telling him, come on, man, mellow out, you know. We're in a public place here, you know. And, oh, man, he started going into the song, I Am What I Am. You know, I was sorry I said anything, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, people can be proud of themselves, but, you know, I think people just try to, like, do it too much. Like, if you want to be treated as someone who is equal, then you have to act like someone who, you know, should be equal, not, you know, like, oh, look, I need respect, so I'm going to act out. You know, that's what a child does. It's very immature, in my opinion. So,
yeah,
like, demanding, like, there's a difference between requesting and earning respect, and there's a difference between demanding it in a very immature, childish, like, just obscene way. So.
Oh, you're right on there. You are right on there. Because respect is not something you could demand. It's something you have to earn.
Yep.
Most do. I got to ask, what is the IGA?
It's like a grocery. It's like a farmer's market type thing in my local town. So I live in Savannah, Georgia. So there's a few IGAs around here.
I see. Okay, I didn't know what that was when you mentioned that earlier, but I didn't want to interrupt you. You know? Yeah. So it's a public place.
Yeah, it's just like a it's kind of like a main grocery store, but it's not necessarily like a, you know, like a big Walmart, you know, corporation. They're like locally owned, kind of like everywhere from, like, you know, kind of like on the east side, mid area. So yeah.
Cool. Well, You know, I'm sorry
Yeah.
you got, you felt embarrassed there, I'm sure. I mean, I kind of would have too,
No,
you know.
no, I wouldn't have felt embarrassed. I was just said, you know what? I mean, if you want to be ignorant, that's on you. So brush it off, brush some haters off. You know.
Move on, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Anyways, I gotta get going. I gotta set up a few things, and I got a busy day, so I was just calling in. So.
Thanks a lot,
All
Sean.
right.
I appreciate it. You have a great day.
Oh, I will. You too.
Okay. Bye-bye. Well, that was nice. That was nice. I always like having callers.
I mean, come on. How could you not love John? Was he wonderful or what? Oh, man. I love that call. John, we love you. Coming up next, a little short clip. Just a little tidbit of truth.
Or I shouldn't say I posted, I mentioned an article about a recent peer-reviewed article, which is going to be going out on the pediatrics, medical pediatrics journal and whatnot. It actually says that family and society oppression of homosexuality is a direct cause of these increased STD rate, the increased suicide rate, the increased depression rate. Society and family is the direct cause of that. In other words, we, as in the gay community, are oppressed by society and family, and that is the direct cause of why there's so many problems in our community. But these people are so quick to point fingers. They're so quick to say, well, look at the gay community. Look at them. Look at these people. You know, they have more STDs. They have more drug problems. They have more suicides. You know, they must be miserable. Yeah, we're miserable, folks. We're miserable because of you. You know, if a person keeps knocking you down and knocking you down and knocking you down, sooner or later you don't want to get up anymore. Pretty plain and simple. I've been saying it for years, and I'm kind of shocked that all of a sudden here it is, 2009, and they come out with a peer-reviewed medical study that says what I've been saying the whole damn time. The issues and whatnot that are in the gay community are the direct result of us being oppressed and downtrodden. Like I said, you keep knocking someone down enough times, sooner or later they don't want to get back up.
Hey, witch doctor, give us the magic words.
Alright, you go ooh ee, ooh ah ah, ting tang, walla walla bing bang.
All right. Ooh ee ooh ah ah, ting tang, walla walla bing bang. Ooh ee ooh ah ah, ting tang, walla walla bang bang. Ooh ee ooh ah ah, ting tang, walla walla bing bang. Ooh ee ooh ah ah, ting tang, walla walla bang bang.
Do 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 do.
Oh my goodness, it's time for another clue. And can you imagine from that song, the song that's playing? The ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang. No, I wouldn't do that to you. That's not your clue. Your clue for the free DVDs we're giving away this month is Witch, W-I-T-C-H. That'll work. Witch. Put that in your clue list. Get ready. Get it ready for the end of May. You'll get yourself a free DVD. Whoever's got the most clues right, we're giving away the free DVD. College Boys Live. You ought to know that by now. Goodness gracious. Anyway, and don't forget to go to gaytalkradio.org or queerpublicradio.com. Sign up for a free account on queerpublicradio.com. Check out the pledge options we have if you want to help us out and keep our voice strong and loud and proud here on Gay Talk Radio and Queer Public Radio. We thank you all for helping out. All the best to you and yours, and good luck to you in the contest. Back to the ooh-ee-ooh-ah-ah song.
You can keep your love for me just like you were a miser, and I admit it wasn't very smart. So I went out to find myself a guy that's so much wiser, and he told me the way to win your heart. Ooh ee ooh ah ah. 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 Ting tang walla walla bang bang. Come on and ooh ee ooh ah ah. Ting tang walla walla bang bang. Ooh ee ooh ah ah. Ting tang walla walla bang bang. Ooh ee ooh ah ah. Ting tang walla walla bang bang. Ooh ee ooh ah ah. Ting tang walla walla bang bang.
You know, periodically we have people who kind of became very attached to the show. You know, they drift in and they drift out. That's just the way life seems to be. You know, it seems to be a lot of that going on. You know, people with lots of opinions, I guess they often clash, you know, and that's often what happens. It's bound to happen, I guess, sometimes. But anyway, goodness gracious, there was this one guy, Jab, that got pretty regular with us. I mean, he was really something else, you know, and he was calling in real regular, you know, and he was a self-proclaimed heterosexual. Anyway, I got this one segment for you here. It's with Jab, and one of our first, or maybe his second time, third time that he called, you know, and he was there speaking with us for half the show this time, which slowly became all of the show. And he was a really well, you know, educated young man, and you know, but being straight, you know, it's kind of difficult for a straight person to be like a co-host on a gay news show. You know, I mean, you know, it's his idea. Okay, we'll see what happens. Anyway, you can imagine. Well, we got this one clip though. It was, you know, a lot of fun. Because this is like sometimes what it's just like, you know, people call in and we just talk, you know. We do not hardly ever have a set thing. When we do our live shows, all the news and everything else that you hear is really just fill. I know a lot of people like the news, but, you know, I'd rather have the talks, you know. We're just sometimes about the news, so we can move through it. Anyway, this next piece we're going to hear Jab.
Uh-oh, Jab's calling in. We're in trouble now. Jab's calling in. Jab called in on our show a few weeks ago on a Sunday show we talked on. Let me see here what Jab's got to say. Jab, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, not much. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing okay. I didn't know if you covered this already, but you're talking about Obama's appointees. And one of the guys that he appointed his Secretary of Education was known in Chicago for his idea of an all-gay high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get, you know, what's your opinion on that? Because I really think that's a very, very, very bad idea.
Yeah. I've covered that subject a couple times previously. And at first when I heard Mayor Daley basically just shot it down, and that he, you know, man, he had some good points. At first when I heard Mayor Daley shot it down, I was like pissed. I said, well, what the hell? You know, why not? You know, but then I went and read some of his remarks and comments that he said about it, about, you know, how basically it would single out gay people because, you know, gay people would be the only people that would be going to that school. and in Chicago, with the high crime rate and everything, it's that could be a very bad thing.
And not only that, what I was thinking of is that, if you create an all-gay high school, that kind of puts them in a climate, because that's unrealistic. There's not going to be a place in the world where there's only gay people. They've got to get used to being around heterosexuals. The idea isn't, this is segregation going backwards.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, and you're right. They do. They have to live in the real world.
Yeah, what are they going to join an all-gay business in an all-gay town in an all-gay? It's just not going to happen. That's the whole thing. It's weird how the ideas that we're trying to go backwards. Some of these old backwards ideas like segregation to modern-day problems with stuff like diversity.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm that's the way, and that's what Daley said too, that it's segregation. And then he took it a step further. He said, well, what are we going to do next? We're going to have an all diabetes school or an all physically handicapped school and an all, It's a good point. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's segregation, and it is going backwards, most definitely. And I'm kind of pulled both directions on it, but I'm with you. I think people just need to get along. We don't need to. It's not good. We don't need to separate. We need to come together.
Yeah, more or less, that is basically what we need to do. Because it always infuriates me when whenever they try to do some form of affirmative action or special things for separate people, because the idea behind true equality is you're treated like everyone else, and that means you have to deal with the same stuff everyone else does. You don't get your own special school and whatnot. It's only when we forget about the differences that the differences don't really matter.
Oh, yeah. I remember when I was in high school, there were special schools. There was the short bus schools, and then there was the special school where they sent all the problem kids, and the pregnant girls, and the kids that couldn't get along with none of the other kids in school. They had special schools for them. But, it always alienated them from everybody else,
Yeah, and I can understand, schools for people who are severely retarded or something along those lines. But if I were gay, I would find it extremely insulting, saying, well, you're so abnormal that you need your own special school because you obviously can't deal with being in a regular school. That would just be plain insulting to me.
Yeah, they really tried to push it off, and they did a good job in the media that I read about it. When I first heard about it, it was also positive. They made it sound like a good thing, like it was really needed, and da-da-da-da-da. And then they tried to make Mayor Daley sound like the bad guy, and they had me going, man. And then when I actually read what the mayor had to say, I turned around 180 degrees, and I said, no, wait a minute. Mayor Daley's right. This is not a good thing. But they sure tried to sell it. That's what the media does. They're like used car salesmen,
They've got an agenda, and they'll never admit it, but they've got an agenda. You can't trust them.
Very true. Yeah, and you definitely have to take everything they say with a grain of salt and do a little research on your own. That's for sure. So how'd it go with getting your head shaved?
There was hair everywhere. It was a mess, but I'm all cleaned up and I look good now.
Cool.
But yeah, it's a pain. At first the idea was, hey, if I shave my head, I won't have to shampoo and take care of my head like everyone else does. But then you realize that you've got to shave it all the time, and it's even more of a hassle than just washing it. So that kind of backfired on me.
I'll bet. I just don't even like shaving my face every day. I can't imagine having to shave my face and shave my head, And where are you going to, jeez, next thing you know, you're going to be shaving your whole damn body.
No, I think I'll stop with my head.
You're gonna stop on your head, okay?
Yeah, I'm good with my head and face. That's all for me.
That's enough work.
Yep.
That's good. Well, Wendy hasn't been around lately. I know the last time you called in, Wendy was on the show, but she's in Florida now. Her father's not doing well.
Got any more stories before we run out of time, or?
Oh, I got a whole bunch of stories I'm gonna have to carry. Well, I don't know. I'm about halfway. My next story here is about a little story about a black pastor that's telling the gay community, yeah, you need to be screaming and yelling about this Rick Warren guy. That's the one that's going to do the inauguration invocation.
Yeah.
That Obama has called upon to do the invocation at his inauguration, and he don't like gays, and he's supposedly a big time AIDS guy, but he's only like involved in Africa with AIDS, and AIDS was around a long time, and when he thought it was a gay disease, he didn't care about AIDS. But then when he found out that women and children were getting AIDS, then he got involved. But I got a sneaky suspicion it's more about it's starting to look that way, that it's more about money for him and his proselytizing and making him more rich and more powerful.
What I think it is I think it's Obama. Ran a pretty far left campaign, and I think this is his way of trying to what's the word? I can't. Basically, he's trying to appease the middle to right-leaning crowd, thinking that this is the kind of thing that they would want. And like I said, I'm conservative. And I am not at all homophobic in the slightest. But as far as Rick Warren goes, he's pretty mild as compared to some other pastors. I mean, I just don't see a huge issue here. Really, I think Obama's just playing politics like usual, and that's really as far as I can see.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what comes of it. They say he's just trying to bring everybody together, and, if that's what he's doing, good. I mean, it's, I guess they always have an invocation at to me, it just, when you start mixing politics and religion, and I just think there's too much of that already.
Yeah. It would take a really long time for me to explain exactly how I feel on that issue, but I'll just say that he's playing politics, and I think it's going to backfire. I don't think, because he's not going to fool people on the right thinking that, hey, I'm going to have this pastor do my invocation on Lincoln's Bible. That'll make it all better. And he's only pissing off the left using Rick Warren, so it's just going to backfire. I think if I were his advisor, I'd tell him, hey, that's a dumb move.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Well, Rick Warren invited him to speak at his church or something, and they, so Obama went to Saddleback Church over in California, Rick Warren's church, and they had a little debate or conversation or whatever, and so I'm thinking that's Obama's kind of like, returning the favor or whatever. But we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be interesting to see what the man says once he's given the mic, and, because he might say something that might end up making Obama. I mean, Obama's already been in that boat with Reverend White.
Like I said, Rick Warren is fairly mild when it comes to the gay issue. I mean, homosexuality is a sin is, pretty standard fare for a lot of preachers. He's not that far out there. So I doubt he's going to go on an anti-gay, diatribe in the middle of the inauguration. I think he'll have, more sense that that's not what this is about. If he does, I'll come on and say, man, I was wrong.
Okay, I'll take you up on that, jab.
I just really don't think he'll do that.
I'm with you. I don't think he will either, because I think he realizes he'd be shooting himself in the foot.
Yeah, it's about Obama getting, officially sworn in as president. It's not about what Rick Warren thinks.
Right. Let me see, what was my next article here? Oh, that was about the Episcopal thing, with the Episcopal churches and all the stuff going on with them ordaining, LGBT people. They ordained a bishop, a gay bishop, openly gay bishop, Gene Robinson in New Hampshire. And now and when they had their the Anglican communion thing where they met here last year, they basically told the United States Episcopals not to ordain any more gay people, and an Episcopal church in Denver just ordained another lesbian. So they're causing a split. All this stuff is causing a split on the Episcopal church.
For me, to me that honestly really doesn't matter. It's an internal Episcopal thing that's happening. The one thing that did happen after the Proposition 8 thing is, after it passed, is that a bunch of churches got bombed by radical activists, and that's just no good. But yeah, I don't know. It's an internal church thing. As long as it's not getting violent, it's up to them to figure their stuff out.
Yeah, though, that's true. Well, we did have that guy in, where was it, Louisiana or whatever, the guy that went into the church and shot a bunch of people a few months back.
I've heard like more than one story, and it was bombs when I heard it. And it wasn't the Sarah Palin's church either, though that did get hit.
Yeah, that was a fire, that one. I don't know. Yeah, they tried to blame that on the gay community, but there wasn't any proof.
Well, they thought it was arson, but
yeah.
I don't know if it had anything to do with gays, because there's more than just gay people that are going to be angry at Sarah Palin.
That's for sure. I love the Saturday Night Live skits they do.
Well, that was good, but at the same time, a lot. It was also kind of showed how dumb people are, because they attributed a lot of Tina Fey's quotes directly to Palin,
mm-hmm.
and they didn't realize that this was a skit.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I can see Russia from my house. She never said that.
Right.
Tina Fey did.
Yeah. Yeah. People take the ball and run with it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, I had a recent. This is a good one. You'll like this one. It was a total side note, and it has nothing to do with gay. I told you I'm not always about gay. It happened in Malibu, California courtroom on last Friday. Ryan O'Neal, the movie star guy, he pled guilty to possessing methamphetamines and was sentenced to 18 months in drug rehabilitation. And my comment on this whole thing is gee, I wonder how many months of drug rehabilitation you or I would have gotten.
Yeah, a couple things is like, what's he doing with meth? Meth is a poor person's drug, as it were. It's the stuff that makes your teeth rot out of your head, makes you look like a skeleton. That's the last thing a movie star should be taking. But, and yeah, you're right. If it were you or I or any of our listeners who aren't famous, I'm pretty sure that it would be a lot more than that, and we couldn't afford to go to some sort of Mayo Clinic kind of deal.
Yeah, we wouldn't be getting no rehabilitation. We'd be in jail.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm liberservative. I'm libertarian/conservative, and I happen to be libertarian on the drug issue. But that's neither here nor there.
That's for sure. And Facebook made a deal here recently. They got upset. There's this in Canada. There's this GLBT community magazine thing, and they have a Facebook site. It's called Extra. with the letter X and TRA, and they had this really, kind of a lot of nudity and stuff. They had a woman showing her breasts and 3 or 4 guys, naked guys around her, but you couldn't see their penises or anything. And then there's this other girl on the ground, you know, that looks like she might be giving one of the guys head. And that was the cover of their magazine. And they put that on their Facebook website, and Facebook yanked it.
You know, the thing is Facebook is a private organization, and if they deem fit to remove something, they can do it. I mean, and from the sound of it, they weren't really, you know, being that extreme. I mean, that does sound pretty racy.
Yeah, it was, and they were worried about children seeing it. Well, we just got the 90-second warning, Jab, so we're going to have to call it a show.
Okay.
I thank you for calling in, though. That was cool. I'm glad you called in. I always appreciate people calling in.
Yeah, I'll try and call in more. Yeah, it's hard to wake up as early as the show starts, and now that you've moved it back.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, sorry about that, but you know, it's later now.
Yeah. All right.
You have a good day.
You
All
too.
right. Bye-bye. Gotta throw out the love here to the room.
I love you, and you, and you. Oh, and you too. And don't forget him. I love her, and him, and her, and him, and him, and her. I love you all.
You know, we had all this big hoopla at one point about, you know, the Oprah Winfrey show when she had the Reverend Ed Bacon on there, and he said being gay was a gift from God. And I reported on that, and I actually didn't see the original show, but shortly there afterwards, just, I don't know, a week or two, I think, Oprah had a special webcast with the Reverend Ed Bacon and Reverend Michael Beckwith and Elizabeth Lesser. And they had this special panel thing where they even had callers call in. And I recorded some of it. So I'm going to play you 2 segments from the Oprah webcast that they had. That you'll hear Ed Bacon, Michael Beckwith, Elizabeth Lesser, and of course you'll hear Oprah in there and some callers. But the first segment is going to be on spirituality. That's about 8 minutes. And then the second segment is about 11 minutes, and that's where you actually get to hear a clip from the original show where Reverend Ed Bacon said being gay was a gift from God. Then a little bit of clarification from him on that statement, and then Michael Beckwith jumping in. It's really good. And then after all that, then there'll be a third clip. So it's going to be 3 clips right in a row here. A third clip on the fallout that I got some voicemail on Gay Talk Radio after reporting on that, and then a couple callers and their feelings about what they thought about that whole. So it was quite a stir from the gift from God thing with Oprah Winfrey and me reporting on it. Yeah, check it out. Here you go. 3 little clips in a row. Enjoy. And don't forget, give us a call. Contact us. You can call us at 301-TALK-GAY. You know, if you don't want to do your donation or anything over the internet, you can call me, 301-TALK-GAY. If you want to do it over the internet, that's great too. Just go to gaytalkradio.org or queerpublicradio.com. Where else? Hey, enjoy the clips. Talk to you in a little bit.
Well, I think of our inner life, our soul, as something we come into life with. It's shining in our hearts. It's always there with us. But as we go through life, this light, which is in the lantern of who we are, our body and our psyche are this lantern around our soul light, gets covered with layers of soot, layers of conditioning. Let's say you had a really difficult childhood, and you're this beautiful light that you came into the world with, the stress of your childhood, the anger you might have built up, the fear, the mistrust, it begins to dull the natural light that is inside of us. So when we say we go on a spiritual path, we're not going somewhere else. We're not going to get something we don't already have. We have to find a way to clean the sides of our lantern. And so...
I love that. We're cleaning the soot off of our lantern.
And psychology is actually a sacred journey if you do it in service of liberating the light. So you're aware, my childhood makes me perpetually angry. So there's no, you go to church and the minister says, be love, you are love, but you're always angry and it doesn't sync up. But you can spend time, let's say, with a therapist or a counselor or a pastoral counselor, cleaning that side of the lantern with dealing with your childhood wounds, healing yourself.
Yeah.
And that's a tool. That's a spiritual tool. So is religion, prayer, ritual. So is contemplation, meditation. So they all are part of a holistic spiritual path.
All right, what would you say, Reverend Beckler?
I would agree with her. Spirituality is not about gaining anything. It's about letting go of something. She's talking about the soot. She's talking about the distrust, the anger, the worry, the fear. So spirituality is about letting go of the false beliefs, the limiting perceptions, the unexamined perceptions in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And as through prayer, through meditation, through sacred service, through study, through fellowship, you start to little by little let go of that which is inhibiting you from being yourself. And you have aha moments, you have insights, you have revelations into your real nature.
So what does it mean to be spiritually liberated, since you wrote the book, Spiritual Liberation?
If you are spiritually liberated, that means you no longer run by unexamined perceptions.
Ooh, that's good.
And so you're able to contemplate, see what's running you. Sometimes I have people ask, who's driving this bus?
Uh-huh.
Is it the unexamined perceptions that I just adapted from the society I'm living in, or is it my higher self that's running the bus? To be spiritually liberated is to know which one is running the bus and then keep giving vent to your higher self, the intuition, the divine guidance, the wisdom that's inherent to all of us.
I love that. No longer run by unexamined perceptions. And you, sir?
Well, I love Elizabeth's metaphor because I think that inner light really is the experience of the divine within. And we can access that anytime.
Do we all think that, right? Don't we all think that the inner light is the divine within?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's God.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is God. It is the Spirit. It is the all.
Yeah.
And what I want to emphasize...
The all, yeah.
Yeah, it is the all. And when we are in touch with that, we are in touch with how deeply loved we are and how deeply all people are loved.
Yes, you know, I started maybe 10 years ago when in my prayer praying to all that is God instead of just praying to God, because growing up I had this sort of perception of God as, you know, in the sky with the beard and the judgmental God.
Right.
And so as I grew on my own spiritual path, I wanted to be open to all that is God.
It is an illusion that we are separate from God, separate from one another, separate from anything else. Spirituality is about the wholeness of our being connected with ourselves, with everyone else, with all that is, and with God.
Yeah, can you say that again? Because I do think that a lot of people, even very religious people, see themselves as separate from God. And spirituality is about the connection of the inner light, the lantern, to that which is God, which is above, around, and through us.
When we are connected with the divine intelligence, which is all there is, we become intelligent and we become connected with all there is. Mm-hmm. We experience the allness, the oneness, the wholeness that God is, and that we are inside all the community of selves within us, and with one another, and with all the people in the world.
Yeah.
You know, science.
So God isn't out there, but
no.
God isn't out there, but God is out there, and in both. Here, and all around, everywhere.
God is all.
Right. I think a good analogy is just as the sunbeam is not separated from the sun, we're emanations of God, so we're never separated from the divine presence. We wouldn't exist if we were separated. We just, because there's only one life, and that is the life of God, and that life is everywhere, and everything is in that context. So to think you're separated from God is really an optical illusion.
Mm-hmm.
And the good news is we can access that any moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
By taking a breath.
And so isn't, because I always feel the presence of God through the breath. Yeah, that means you're...
God is the breath of God. The Spirit is the Ruach.
And you know, remember when we did our webcast with Eckhart Tolle, and he would say, take that breath and then feel the life in your hands. That's a good place to start. Just feel the pulsing energy of life. And if you were a scientist, and physicists are now talking about this, you looked at your hand under a microscope and you saw the dancing atoms and how there really isn't much separation between them and the air around us and the whole earth. It's sometimes people think this talk about God and separation and sort of not easy to understand and woo-woo, but when you think about it in scientific terms, how actually we all are these energy fields of dancing energy.
And if you have any trouble understanding that, Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor's book, My Stroke of Insight, the moment she had the stroke in the shower, the brain scientist who had the stroke in the shower, and she realized that exactly what you're talking about, the atoms in her hand and all around, my God, it's all the same.
Yeah, and sometimes as a...
My God.
As
right.
My God. And sometimes as a form of prayer and meditation, all I do, if I'm feeling disconnected or not connecting with another person, I just take that breath and I feel that pulsing energy, and I know that there's just the thinnest membrane separating us. But
that pulsing energy that's in your hands, which we talk so much about with that card, is also the pulsing energy that's throughout the universe, and that's what we're trying to do.
And that's who we are all together.
In everything.
And we're conscious of it. We have reflective consciousness, meaning we can think about what we're thinking about. So we're conscious of this pulsing energy. Whereas this table, it's moving very rapidly, even though it looks solid. It's not necessarily reflecting back on itself, but we are. There was a great scientist that said that we are the way the stars look back at themselves. Wow. So this is the universe becoming conscious of itself.
Take a look. Take a look. Good gracious.
You know, they showed this on the news.
Oh, I'm sure we did.
Being gay is a gift from God. But our culture doesn't understand that. And consequently, the culture sends messages that you ought to isolate. And isolation is the antithesis of what all of us need.
Well, you are the first minister I ever heard say being gay is a gift from God. I can tell you that.
Now you're here, too.
Now you're here, too. Okay.
Now you're here, too. And that has nothing to do...
You are the first two ministers I ever heard say being gay is a gift from God. John from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina is on the phone. Hi, John.
Hi, Oprah. How are you tonight?
Okay, go for it.
Good. I'm glad to be talking with you and everyone else. The question that I have as I'm going through this spiritual reevaluation myself is, if you're accepting the Bible as a Christian as the rule of God in your life, I guess how do you come to terms with being able to condone homosexuality and the lesbian lifestyle and yet not feel like you're betraying your beliefs?
Good question.
John, I'm so excited about your life because it's so clear that you're on a journey. You're asking the question about what are the authorities of my life, and I bet you that the Bible is not the only authority in your life. I don't know anyone, even the most literalist Bible thumpers, who really listen to the Bible only. All of us bring in different authorities of our life, and one of the authorities of our lives has to be our inner voice and our true self. Jesus himself gracefully set aside parts of the Bible. In the Sermon on the Mount, he said, "You have heard it said, love your neighbor but hate your enemy. But I say to you, you have heard it said, an eye for an eye, but I say," even Jesus had to set aside parts of the Scripture when they were not in alignment with the compassionate God he knew. And that's what's going on with you right now. You are squaring the way you use the Bible and other authorities with what you're discovering in the depths of your heart about the real God of compassion and the God who loves all.
Right.
I'm with you, my friend.
Right. And it's been an interesting journey. I kind of share a little bit of affinity with Oprah in that I think we both came from backgrounds that were, or at least my background was very rigid. It was very Pentecostal to begin with.
Southern Baptist, yeah.
And then into I went into the charismatic churches, and then there were some things I won't get into that kind of turned me off to Christianity and church for many, many years. And actually, it was about 4 years ago, Oprah, one of your very good friends, Dr. Wayne Dyer. It was some of his teaching that was the catalyst for getting me back involved in spirituality and searching a path for God. There were some things that I was taught that I'm still very solid on, and then there are other things that I kind of go, about. And And so part of the reason for this question from my perspective is that I think there's a lot of Christian people that follow the Christian path out there that are struggling with, you know, being accepting. And my wife and I have had over the last few years, we've actually had two couples that were lesbian friends of ours, and they were great, great people. And I don't doubt that they came into our life, you know, for a purpose to teach me some lessons as well, too.
Oh, wow.
And at the same time, I think that a lot of Christians are struggling with maybe some old line thinking of, well, we've got to feel, you know, absolutely judgmental. It has to be this way. And unfortunately, I'm seeing that same attitude on the other side of the aisle, too, in the homosexual community. And not in all, you know, sections, you understand, but in some sections. And what I want to be a part of is bringing peace to all this.
That's a beautiful thing you just said, John. And I think that something that Reverend Bacon said on a show I did Monday is that you've got to, in your own heart, decide whether you're going to serve the God of compassion or you're going to serve the God of judgment and condemnation.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah. Is that what you want to say, Michael?
Yeah, a couple of things. One is that the saying goes that we're spiritually made in the image and likeness of God. God made us in his image, and we've been trying to return the favor ever since. So we've made a God of his human frailties, angry, judgmental, jealous, and we've projected onto the presence of God all of the human immaturity. But that's not the presence of God. The presence of God is, as the Reverend is saying, love, compassion, generosity, all of these wonderful qualities. So we're not here telling people what to think. We're asking people to think, to begin to open up their minds and think and come into touching that inner authority that is within them. Because the Bible is not God's holy word. The Bible is the inspired word of man about God, you see. And so in the Bible, there are also versions of the Bible. If anybody picks up their Bible and reads it, it'll say...
I was always told the Bible was God's holy word.
Right, but it's actually the inspired word of man, the inspiration of man about God. And if you read the Bible, open up any Bible, it'll say version. This is the King James version of the Bible. It's not the Bible. You can't find the real Bible. All you have is the versions that have been passed down. So people are putting their faith in versions.
Say that again. The inspired words of men about
God.
Yeah.
That's what you're reading. So at any moment, you know, you have an aha, you have an inspiration about the presence of God.
I just had an aha just then.
Write it down. You know, it becomes your Bible. It becomes that moment of inspiration. So you compile all of that. It has history. It has customs.
And it also has to do with the times. I mean, if we're going to go literally by the Bible, then we would all still be enslaved. Well,
absolutely.
Michael and I
we
would
would
still be enslaved, and it would be slaves obey your masters, because that is what...
You couldn't play football.
Yes.
In Leviticus, it says to touch a pigskin is an abomination. That means you couldn't play football on Sunday. All those quarterbacks that are throwing the pigskin.
Well, there's some people that believe you can't because of Leviticus.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So you see, John, what we're saying. What do you want to say about that?
Well, if you study history, and it's a really good idea to study the history of religions, all religions, not just Christianity.
Right.
They change over time to accommodate the times. Like Galileo was jailed in the 15th century because he posited that the Earth was the center, that was not the center of the universe, and the sun was. And the church, the Christian church at the time, jailed him because they said in the Bible that man and earth is the center of the universe. Well, we wouldn't do that anymore. That we have evolved. And religions evolve with the times, and all you have to do is read your Bible and see the things we no longer take as gospel, but they're in the Bible. So we're evolving now. It's slow. The debate now about gays and what was unleashed here the other day on television,
what was revealed.
In 50 years, we'll look back at it and think that was a strange time back then.
Yes.
And so we're moving slowly. We have to be both patient.
That was a strange time when people believed that because people were born a certain way, then they should be judged, or they should be stoned, or they should be, treated like women were at one time.
Where we said
like witches.
God is love and religion is love, but you're not allowed to love that kind of person. We're going to look back and say that was a contradictory message.
Yeah, absolutely.
John, I grew up...
People were going to say they were strange, weren't they?
Yes.
They'd say one thing and then do another. Yes.
John, I grew up in Georgia. You're in South Carolina. There was a very famous Pastor, when I was a young man who said God is a segregationist God, that was a misuse of Scripture used to abuse human beings. And we are called to use Scripture not as abusive, but as compassionate, healing, and liberating.
Yes.
And you are on a path that I salute, my friend.
Stay awake.
Yeah, stay awake.
Stay awake.
Stay awake.
Stay awake.
If you look back, now we're talking about gay people, as Oprah was indicating just a short time ago, it was black people.
Yes.
Before that, it was women were inferior and witches were burned. Before that, it was left-handers.
Right.
If you were born left-handed, you were from the devil.
If you were left-handed and black, God help you.
And if you were a left-handed gay person,
Left-handed and black gay person, forget about it.
There's no way to get in.
And a woman. Left-handed, gay, black, lesbian.
Oh, my gosh.
Burned at the stake. All right, John, see what you've unleashed here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Go, John.
Michael from Newport, Rhode Island wants to jump in on this. Well, go ahead, Michael.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Good, thanks. I just want to say thank you. I emailed you just thank you and asked you for you to pass that on to Reverend Bacon. I just sat up in my seat and was brought to tears with absolute joy, not to just hear it, but to know that so many millions of people that were hearing it. And for homosexuals that needed to hear it, but also for people that, as you all were talking about society's evolution, I mean, I really think it may have, pushed some things forward. It came out of nowhere for me. I never, as you said, you were completely...
Came out of nowhere for me, too, believe me.
It's from God.
Yeah.
I knew it would come, but just, the timing was just unbelievable. I was like, already? I just couldn't believe it. I was just filled with absolute joy and gratitude that, he was sent there to speak to all those people and have that be said.
Well, thank you, Michael. Thanks so much.
May I say one word about that?
What?
I have gotten a lot of email.
Yeah, you have it.
Me too, Brother Ed.
And it has been 4-1 affirming what went on here.
Really?
Oh, yes.
It has been amazing. And what I want to bring up is the issue of tears. Most of the people who wrote me said that they were weeping while they were typing the email. My experience is that kind of tears, those are tears of healing. And to cry along the journey of spirituality.
Yeah. And tears because I think they were validated by that. So many people were validated.
But that's deep healing going on, which is another metaphor for the lanterns being cleansed.
Being cleansed.
Right.
I'm deeply grateful for everybody who wrote me and told me about how liberating that was.
Yeah, same here. I was leaving the gym, and these rather muscular guys came up. They were gay. And one of them was explaining to me that his mother called him and said, I finally understand you. She had kind of cut him off. And just that comment opened her up to see her son and embrace her son in a different way. Wow. And that story is repeated many, many times.
We'll let the healing begin and continue.
Yes.
All right. Yesterday you heard me comment on the show, on Oprah's show. Oprah Winfrey had a show the other day where she had a preacher, a California preacher named Ed Bacon, and Ed made the comment that homosexuality is a gift from God, and that caused a lot of uproar over on the Oprah show, and I actually got a voicemail. I have a voicemail system that y'all are probably quite aware of, and it tells about it in my opening sound bit there. It tells about the voicemail system. So yesterday I had got a voicemail regarding the gift for God comment that I made yesterday from the Oprah show. So I'm going to play for you that sound clip that I got from a lady in Minnesota.
This is in reference to the gay talk, and I'm talking about when the priest and the spiritual leaders were on Oprah Winfrey, and when they said that being gay was a gift from God. I have been a fan of Oprah's for many years and watched it religiously. However, after that was said, I have decided I will no longer watch her shows or listen because I do not agree with that at all, and I do not think they should be promoting that because it is not a gift from God, being gay. I do not believe it. The Bible says that homosexuality is not right. Thank you.
And we thank you for calling us on our voicemail system and leaving us that comment. You know, I always love to get the voicemail comments and play them on the air. So, you know, if you can't call into the live show, call the voicemail system, and we will put it out there. And, you know, I watched him on Oprah last night. They had a webcast where they had that preacher on again. They had several preachers on again, you know, and it really freaks me out, you know, sometimes to hear those preachers are getting towards a new age spirituality, you know, some of them, and I think it's awesome. You know, I got a caller on the line here, and I believe this is going to be my good friend and my loved dear friend, Charn Parker. You're on the air.
Hey, Tom. Good morning.
Good morning, Charn. How are you this fine morning?
I'm nauseated. But it's not over the show. But you might have known I'd call in on this one. I didn't hear that show. I love Oprah. I do that. Well, I don't want to say nobody knows me. Nobody knows what I think. If they haven't heard me, I've been on your show with this. No, it's not a gift from God. We are born. We come into this. This is part of us. It's no more a special gift from God than being a heterosexual. But as I said in the beginning, and if y'all want to hear Tom's show, he can tell you which one to listen to. The homosexual male is closer to the natural state of Adam. But no, I don't. Do you agree with that, Tom? That it's a gift? I know it's not a gift. I mean, they're trying to do something for us, but they're going in every wrong direction. Why can't you say we are human beings? We were born or came into this in our life, and this is how we are. And of course, I got the inspiration, the direction, you know, years ago on that teaching about homosexuality, male and female, in relation to Adam and Eve. But as a gift from God, no, I think they're going a little bit far. How do you feel about it?
Well, you know, yeah, at first it kind of struck me a little odd, but then they kind of elaborated on it a little bit when they said that every human being is a gift from God. Every life is a gift from God.
That is true, yes, absolutely. Yes, I mean, we're all here because of one thing, because of creation or God or the light, whatever you want to call it. Yes, we are all part of the same thing, absolutely. It's, again, they're just trying to, I think, figure us out. They're trying to figure us out, and maybe this is a good one to go with, and then they'll balance it all out. But it's just like the African American people. For years, they've had so many different names, you know, and God knows we know what all the various names are. Now they finally got down to African American, which is nice, but yet it doesn't necessarily fit the color of everyone. And my aunt's good friend, Dolores, who's 82 years old, she says, Sean, I've always been a black person. I'll always be a black person, because that's what she grew up with, you know. So they're trying to figure out something good for us, Tom. I guess that's okay.
I don't know. Part of me wonders if they didn't do it for the shock value, you know.
Well, it surprises me a little bit with Oprah. But, you know, speaking of Oprah, now, folks, this is just my own thought, my own opinion. I love Oprah, and I like Gail and all seven. But I just wonder someday if Oprah isn't going to come out and make an announcement that she may be bisexual. Because there's so much. She's such a dear friend of Gail's and with Gail all the time. You hear very little about Stedman, and that just is another show. But so I wonder, you know, maybe Oprah's finally going in that direction where she's finally going to say something, or maybe there really isn't anything to say, and it's just my perverted mind wondering about it, you know. Which one are you laughing at, my perverted mind or what?
I'm not going to say.
You know, anyway, but no, I think I didn't hear that. I wish I had heard the show, but again, is it someone, I guess, having thoughts? It's just another thought, I guess, about gay, lesbian people. People still, even if they're told the truth, they don't understand it. It's so many people, I mean, don't understand it. So I guess who knows what will become before it's all over, you know? But
Yeah,
we know the important thing.
You know, when they had the spirituality special last night, their webcast, you know, they kind of elaborated. She had that same preacher on that made that comment, and they you know, they addressed it a little further. And but I was so shocked because here this guy is you know, he you know, he had the white, you know, neck brace thing there, you know, that the preachers wear. He's a ordained, I think he's an Episcopal preacher, and he has a church down in California. And then they had this other lady that was on there, and this other man, and they were basically talking about spirituality, and that was so cool because it was you know, it wasn't the old school religion stuff. They're saying that religion is coming around and getting away from the old school stuff, and yeah, I was like, you know, very skeptical of that comment, you know, but they were more in line with the thinking that we have, that we're all spiritual beings that have an inner light. And Oprah made her comment about how she used to go to church, and that the preacher told her one time and from the pulpit that God is a judging God and God is a jealous God, and she said that's the last time she went to church, and she became spiritual after that instead of being religious. And I mean, I was just kind of floored at some of the comments that they were leaning towards the spirituality and the light, and that the combination of all our lights and all of our spirits form God as we know it. And I was just, wow, I was blown away.
Well, you know, Yahweh, the God of the Old Testament, was a jealous God, but he was also loving. He would do for you, but he would also take away. So he was a judging God. But then again, you go into the God of Jesus and Buddha, and their God is a loving God. So there was a jealous God, and that's probably in the Baptist church and other places. That's the God they preached. You know, the God, you know, of thunderbolts, lightning, and you do wrong. You know, the God that asked Abraham to sacrifice his son. Then all of a sudden he said, well, you proved to me you do it, so you don't have to do it after all. So that, yeah, I see what Oprah means. But, you know, when you were giving your lineup for the week, and then you said on Saturday you'd have a review of the week and all, I was waiting. Then you said on Sunday, and I was waiting for, and it was funny. I thought it just before you started talking about this minister. I said, "Oh, don't tell me on Sundays it's going to be Vespers with Pastor Tom." And then you came up with this thing about the minister. I said that was weird. But I was waiting to see what you were going to do on Sundays. I said, "Here it comes, here it comes." So anyway, well, let me let
I'm not that far.
I mean, I'm a member of Oprah's site, but I just never. I've gotten in there very few times to watch it. I missed the whole Eckhart Tolle thing she did with him because I couldn't get it on my screen for some reason. But she has some darn good stuff on there, really. I mean, I think that Oprah loves everybody. She's trying her best, but she's really getting down for a lot of things too. But anyway, let you go. Get back to your show. But boy, you be careful what you mention. You know I'm going to call in. Thank you, Don. Love you, guy.
Love you, John. Thanks for calling. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye. Yeah, see, and the next article I had here was about the Episcopal Diocese in Denver ordained a lesbian. And the backstory on that is that the Anglican/Episcopal Church didn't want any more ordination of any gays or lesbians in the church. When they had their Anglican communion this last year, they basically put up a moratorium to that. And Denver has ceased the moratorium and went ahead. And California is also getting ready to ordain a lesbian also. Good morning, Sister Shani, or Shanai. Sorry if I said that wrong. Glad you liked the song, Miss Laugh-A-Lot. Yeah, John, my brother John, he does pretty good sometimes with his songs. Let's see what else I had here. You know, tomorrow night is when Bishop Gene Robinson is going to give his prayer. It's going to be the first event that Obama's going to be at in the start of to kick off the inauguration festivities. And Bishop Gene Robinson, the only openly gay bishop in the Episcopal Church, is going to give the invocation at that event. And, you know, it's interesting because he's going to do this in front of the Lincoln Memorial, which is the same place where Martin Luther King gave his I Have a Dream speech in 1963. So I hope I can find some. I don't have a URL for you right now on where we can see this live or anything. I'll try to have one for tomorrow morning's show, because I definitely plan on watching this and seeing what Bishop Gene Robinson has to say, because he's well aware. I actually sent email to his office to make sure he was well aware that this is where Martin Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech in 1963. So,
he's got to be. There's no way he can overlook something like that. No way.
and he was. His office emailed me back and said he was well aware of it already. That's the first thing he told his executive assistant when he was given this honor to speak at this event. That's the first thing he told his executive assistant. Says, well, that's where Martin Luther King gave his I Have a Dream speech. So I was like, wow, that's way cool. I just think it's an awesome thing. So let's see here. What else did I have here? Oh, we talked about this one, Jab, about Ryan O'Neal, with getting caught with methamphetamines and being sentenced to 18
O'Neal?
months. Yeah, the actor.
Oh, right. I remember that.
Yeah, he got 18 months of drug rehab for possession of methamphetamines, when we all know the rest of us would have, celebrity justice, here we go again.
Yep.
Let's see here. Okay, that about wraps it up for the Monday stuff. I didn't even get past Monday yet. Okay, over to the Tuesday stuff. Let's see what I had on Tuesday.
Yeah, we better hurry.
Yeah, right. I'm going to move on quick. I'm going to skip some stuff here and there. On Tuesday, I mentioned that I had a dream Monday night about starting an LGBT internet talk radio station, kind of like what Fly Lady has here on Block Talk Radio. That I had a dream, and that's what I'm going to be. That's my big push this year, is trying to make that happen. But we have to get 1,000 LGBT hosts in order to pull off something like that. So,
yeah, that costs a lot. I mean,
yeah, $5,000 a
like
month.
Media Lizzie heads up the politics conservative section. I know because I'm over there all the time. But you need a lot of people, and it's like $7,000 or something. It's ridiculous. You'll need to start a fund and all that.
Oh yeah, it's $5,000 a month for the basic system, and I don't know if there's add-ons or what. Oh, we got another caller on the line. Let me bring in this other caller and see who they are and what they want. And 250, you're on the air. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, this is Miss Laugh-A-Lot. How you doing?
Hey, Miss Laugh-A-Lot. Hey. I'm doing great. How are you this fine day?
Oh, excellent, excellent. I'm actually just about ready to go and clean my eaves. There's probably about 6 inches of ice collected on the eaves.
Wow.
So yeah, that's causing leakage. So yeah, I got to take care of that.
That's good.
yeah. Water coming in the house? No, not good.
Well, at least you'll get some little extra exercise besides your laughing.
Yeah, and I'd like to tell you, I really am enjoying your show, and that was a beautiful song that your brother wrote. That was beautiful. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, he was all worried, he was like, oh, now people are gonna think I'm gay,
That's kind of annoying though, because I know that like some people are going to think I'm gay because I come to the gay talk show, like by association. You're gay by association. Mm-hmm. It happens.
Mhm. I really don't care. I don't care what they think.
There you go. I like that one.
Well, who cares about labels? We're people. So hey, whatever.
Well, it's like that, but at the same time, it's like if you've ever been accused of having sex with someone you didn't, that's really infuriating, and it's the same thing to me.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can't control what other people think, right? And so I mean, they're going to think what they want. So yeah. Well, and really, what they think, it's all about what we. Well, I'm speaking for myself, right? If I allow them or their behavior or their words to affect me, then that's that's me, right? So I have to work on how I react to that, right? So, but yeah, it's tough when you feel, and of course we've all been judged. We've all been judged to some point, and it can be tough. But it's finding a way to to react to it in a better way and handle it. You know what I mean? In a healthy way. That's my journey. That's what I've experienced anyway. But
yep, for sure. I like to think that what other people say says more about themselves than it does about me. As far as, when they put their opinion on me, it says more about them than it does about me.
Exactly.
There's a lot of truth in that.
Yeah. You don't have to take that on.
No.
Right.
Hey,
all right. What's the? Yeah.
Hey, Miss Lafayette. Love to you. And Tom, I agree. Your brother's song was awesome. I love it.
Yeah, musicians, they're just so amazing. Artists, musicians, anybody who creates is just so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Nothing ever, in my opinion, nothing ever really bad comes out. When somebody creates, it's just really beautiful. You may not agree with it, but the very fact that, or you may not resonate with it, but the very fact that somebody actually created something and put it out in the world, I think that's so brave and very beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's true, but at the same time, art can be used as a weapon. I mean, so you've got to have good intentions to go with it. I mean,
right. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because like the Nazis had propaganda and all. It can be used for evil. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But were they really artists though? But were they really artists though, or were they just buying into a belief that someone else had put and they accepted? I don't know if I would say they were artists.
I do think that a lot of them were brainwashed, but that's where I can hear myself again. At the same time, they were still being creative in their own way. They just had a warped belief system that they saw everything through, and that affected the end product.
I see your point.
Yeah.
Well, we get a lot of that in the world. That's the thing with there's the negative side and the positive side behind free speech. It's great. We all got free speech though, and that we can all say and think what we want, and that they won't or can't take that away from us, because even if we don't agree with it, at least a person can speak their mind.
The good thing about freedom of speech is, you have your right to opinion, and I have the right to tell you your opinion sucks.
Yeah.
Very good. Yay!
I need to work on the whole love thing. I'm apparently full of hate and rage.
You are, Deb. You need to get over it. Be happy. Don't, like the song says, don't worry, be happy.
Yeah.
We're going to run out of time. We better get to the next article.
Oh, what the heck. If we don't get to them all, we don't get to them all.
Okay.
Hey, I love your dog, by the way. Tomic, is that your dog in the picture?
Yes, that is. That's my little beagle.
Aw. I used to have a beagle, and he looked exactly like them, even with the markings on his little left paw there and his face. He looked much like him. Yeah.
I love him to death. He's about 4.5 years old now. He's just learning to mind.
Handful, eh?
Yeah.
Is he a runner?
Oh, man, he's a runner and a barker, and he's very active, full of energy. He gets me more exercise than I desire sometimes.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah. They're really quite funny dogs.
I took him to. I'll never forget one time I took him to the vet when he was a puppy. You know, when it was time for him to get fixed, and I took him to the vet. You know, and he. He was.
Just
he was
thinking about that makes
around.
me hurt.
He was wandering around outside sniffing everything, and the vet assistant was out there because it was one of those things where they're volunteers, and the truck pulls up to the local grocery store kind of thing. And I was out there in the early morning, and he was walking around sniffing and smelling everything. And she looked at me, and I looked at her, and I said, I just don't understand. He's got it like every smell in the world. He's got to sniff it. And she said, well, he is a hound dog, you know. You know.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to understand, even by dog standards, beagles have fantastic noses. They are literally noses with legs. That's really what a beagle is.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. That's all he does. His nose, he follows his nose, you know, like Toucan, that bird, you know, from only the nose knows.
Cool thing about the beagle is they're one of the only dogs that can run with their nose to the ground at the same time.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And he does that all the time. I take him out into the forest here in the Pacific Northwest quite often because that's his favorite place. I can take him off the leash and just let him have a good old time. And he can just go smell every smell, and he's just in dog heaven when he's off the leash and can go smell all these new smells. It's like discovering the world. When, oh, look, smell this. Oh, boy, and he runs over here. Oh, there's a good one over here. Oh, boy, oh, and then check this out. You know, he gets all excited.
I would look at my dog and he'd do the same thing. I'm like, well, why can't we be like that? You know, why can't we, you know, he's so in the moment, you know, and every new smell is really exciting. Every new experience is really exciting.
We never get everything done, that's why.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is. He's exactly like that.
I'd look at him and say, "Oh, Eddie, you're just so zen."
Yeah. You know, I gotta say, I had a golden retriever for several years before this dog, and he was the smartest dog I ever had. And I definitely gotta say that I don't know if all beagles are like this one that I have, but he's not very high on the ladder of intelligence, that's for sure.
Hey, you know what it is? They're stubborn is what they are. Beagles can be highly intelligent. They just don't have they just don't pick up information very well, is what I found. They're more stubborn than dumb.
Yeah, very stubborn. Yeah, I got hurt if people called, you know, him dumb. He's not dumb. He's an intellectual dog. He's just got a short attention span.
You're so kind.
Past a certain point, there's no difference between like having the capacity for intellect and not using it and not having it.
That was such you definitely love that dog to be able to make a statement like that.
Yeah.
Good. Speaking of which, somebody wants in here. Hold on just a second.
Probably Dale.
Okay. He barks like he wanted in, but evidently not. He's happy outside. Okay. Where was I? What is this next story? Oh, Indiana. Indiana is going to ban gay marriage now.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the 28 states currently have constitutional amendments banning gay marriage, and now Indiana's going to jump on the bandwagon. Such is life. Onward we move. You know, Tennessee, they're having that protest this morning in Tennessee because they, in front of that hotel where they fired two gay employees this week in Tennessee.
Oh.
In Brentwood, Tennessee. That's where Jab used to live.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a nice place.
Yeah,
most of the time, anyway.
Except at that one hotel.
Just don't go there. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, goodness. Oh, I know we're bad, aren't we? Homeless gay kids need your help in New York City.
I'm sorry, that just sounded funny.
That wasn't funny, Jab. You laughed at the wrong time.
I can't help what strikes me funny. I mean, I've got a weird sense of humor. That's all there is to it.
Oh, goodness. Good thing Laughing Lady isn't here. Boy, we wouldn't get nothing done.
Hey, that can be arranged. I can go call her. I'll get on it.
Now chuckle and stretch, now guffaw and bend and lean.
I missed her show this week. I was so disappointed in myself for missing her show this week. I went to bed early that night.
Oh, hey.
Thursday night. Yeah, I don't get to make them all, but such, stuff happens.
Hey, neither do I.
And you were missed around the holidays when you weren't there. She was doing a show by herself. I think it was her last show before Christmas, before she went on her holiday. And I saw her all by herself in there. And I said, Miss Lavalot left you all by yourself? I just can't believe she did that. How rude. So I called in and helped her out with the show. I said, poor thing, sitting there laughing all by herself.
Aw. Aw, well, that was good of you.
Well, I had to. It's more fun when you're laughing with somebody else. It's kind of like, if you're laughing by yourself, that's almost like drinking by yourself. You know what I mean?
Well, here's a question. If you're drinking and on Blog Talk Radio, are you alone?
Cyber drinking.
Because I live alone and I drink alone, but I'm on BTR, so it's kind of like social drinking.
Well, I hope
spelling goes down a ton.
That works. Hey, if it's still there, you're drinking with others. I'm sure there's someone else that you're talking to somewhere on whatever show you're on, and they're drinking too. So there you go.
Yes.
Yep. Moving on.
Next. Where was I next? Oh, I don't want to talk about Gunny Bob, and I don't want to talk about that's I got to talk about this one, because it wasn't. This is a big story in Oakland, California, where the BART officer executed a handcuffed black man that was on the ground. That's a big story, and they just caught that guy the other day. He was in Nevada.
He ran.
Evidently, they got him in Nevada. The police in Nevada caught up with him and arrested him, and now he's being extradited back to California, to stand charges on this. But I was just in shock that he never was arrested while he was in California. I mean, just
yeah.
Kind of bizarre.
I'm pretty sure because he's a police officer, they allowed him to keep his freedom and all that. But when he left the state, I'm pretty sure they're like, he's running for it. We better, get him back.
Yep. Yeah, he got caught in Nevada, and so who knows? That probably just made things worse for himself because of that. Okay, we're moving on to Wednesday here. Let's see what I said Wednesday. Let's see, scrolling down the notes. I told my little story, which I already mentioned, about Bishop Gene Robinson and talking with his executive assistant. And, this one. Everyone's heard that song by Percy Sledge, When a Man Loves a Woman.
Yeah.
The song has now been remixed by this DJ that took and moved the words around and everything, and it's now the same exact song, except when it says when a man loves a woman, it now says when a man loves a man. And there's even a part in the song where it says when a woman loves a man. Well, now it says when a woman loves a woman. And they took that remix of that song and they put it to this awesome video. And it's so cool. Yeah, there were some rumors flying around about John Lennon and his sexuality that I read about not too long ago.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
I don't know. My brother's is like an emphatic Beatle fan, and he said that the manager of the Beatles and John Lennon used to date. So, I don't know. I don't doubt it. I mean, he spent a lot of time in Liverpool. We heard about Liverpool yesterday.
Yeah, I'll have to see some proof.
Oh, goodness. Oh, the New York Knicks center, Eddie Curry, has been hit with a gay sex harassment lawsuit. Evidently, he came onto his personal driver on several occasions. And so he's been slammed with a sex lawsuit from his personal driver, or used to be personal driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Why don't you quit?
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Uh-oh. My hound dog is screaming at me. Hey, stay outside for a minute. 24 minutes. You'll be happy. Oh, Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil had a mother of a transgendered child on this past week, and he had on some of these ex-gay therapy preacher / therapist people that put her through the ringer. It was very, very not compassionate of Dr. Phil to do to that poor lady.
And Dr. Phil just strikes me as a more acceptable version of Jerry Springer. Like you find out halfway through that the mother's in fact a man and all that. It's like, I am in fact a man. In fact, I am a horse. In fact, I am a broom, or whatever. It keeps changing.
Yeah, that Jerry Springer's definitely out there. They did a song on him not too long ago. It's a hoot. You do a search on it. It's a Jerry Springer song. It's pretty cool. Oh, I had a soap opera alert. Oh my goodness, this one was too cool. Of course, for me anyway, I thought it was too cool, so I got to put a little sound in here. A la Good Morning Vietnam. Soap opera alert. Soap opera alert. Luke and Noah finally have sex. It's from As the World Turns. Two young men named
Come on.
Luke and Noah. Yeah.
For real soap operas? Come on.
Luke and Noah, man, they're cuties. I'm telling you, man. For a dirty old man like me, that's news, buddy.
All right, whatever.
I know. Now, if there was two young girls on there, that it was something.
I'd be all over that.
You'd be all over that. I know you would. So don't be trying to tell me. Don't be trying to judge me with your words.
No. It's a soap opera.
Oh, goodness gracious, that reminds me, I've had guys in the past tell me, well, I just can't deal with gays. And I said, well, let me ask you a question there since you're a straight guy. And he's like, yeah, what? And I said, if there was two women and
Hello?
Hello?
They got him.
You there?
Hello?
Hello?
I'm here.
I'm here.
Laughing Lady's here. Jessra, you're there.
Yes, I am.
We lost
Well,
Tom.
that means I guess, that means that what he was about to say was going to be so exciting and explosive that, they had to clear him off the line for a moment.
Apparently.
But he'll be coming back shortly, I'm sure. In the meantime,
I don't know why it works like that with men, or straight men anyway. Lesbians are attractive, gay men not so much. And it doesn't work with women the other way.
No,
as far as I tell.
It doesn't. Yes, it doesn't seem to work with women the other way. But I think that what happens with the whole being okay with lesbians is because of, I think people get into trying to picture the whole sexual element. It's kind of like that whole thing of two women with a man, and I think that that's why it appears anyway to be more acceptable. But when they think of two men, what they start thinking of.
Well, yeah, I mean, it definitely is that. But, as a straight man, I can say that, it's almost inherently like a psychological thing. Like, it's like on par with like the obsession with breasts and whatnot. It's not something that we choose to be attracted to. We just are.
Do you think it's a socialized thing, though?
Yes and no, because there are men of all types who think lesbians are awesome. And I don't know, maybe I think it might be because, like genetically we're supposed to be the like procreators, so when we see like two women, that maybe it's like that's more opportunity for breeding or something. I don't know.
I've never really thought about it from that's definitely an interesting perspective, because I never even thought of it from that. I always thought that maybe, and again, obviously I'm not a dude, a guy, but I always wondered if maybe it was because it seems like when there's two women, there's a more okay, it's more okay to process in the mind, because there's a possibility that the thought isn't directed towards them in a fashion of any type of sexual thing, only as far as maybe they could pleasure or maybe it looks pleasurable, as opposed to with the guy, if you're not into guys, that might, I just think this seems like the mind goes there quicker when it's
I think you brought up a good point, because I think what it's kind of going through the mind, like subconsciously, is like, wow, there's two chicks, they're all over each other, and all of a sudden, and you're kind of thinking, what if I could just jump in there? They're like just totally waiting for me to get in there. I think that's what's going on in the back of the head.
Right.
And it's males that are the one that sleep around in turn, and genetically, from the genetic level, to pass on the genes, the women are more receptive. So I guess that's why like two dudes probably won't affect a woman the same way. It's because the women aren't like going out there to like procreate. If now I just sound like I'm talking out of my ass, but
well, no, it's like the women. Well, no, but I agree. Two women aren't going out there thinking. They also don't have testosterone, so they're also not thinking the way. You know what I mean? And that's part of the reason that men, at least from what I understand, that's part of the reason males are sometimes, overall considered more sexually, thinking because of testosterone. So that's probably what you're saying. In a way, probably is exactly what it is. And not only that, a girl, for the most part, women aren't looking at two dudes saying, in the back of their mind, maybe I can jump in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So actually you are making the point. No, you're not talking about, well, I don't think you're talking about your ass, but the whole concept of the jumping in, I do think is something that goes on in the back of the mind, not realizing that if it's lesbians, that's not going to happen, because they're not.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're not going to let the truth ruin the fantasy here. Come on.
Absolutely. Exactly. back.
Tom is back.
Hey.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
So now that we've deciphered another mystery of the universe.
It's all that testosterone thing. I didn't know that's what it was. Damn that testosterone. Well, that's the cure. See, we just have to start giving men estrogen shots.
No. That would give us breasts. I don't want breasts.
Oh.
I like to look at them, but I don't want them.
You don't want them? Okay.
No, afraid not.
Okay. All right. Well, you wouldn't have to shave your head as often, because it would get rid of the hair, too.
No, that's true. But, I think what I'll do is I'll, fake cancer or something and go get, a round of chemo so my hair falls out, and then I'll just stay like that.
Yeah, right. Okay.
You definitely don't want chemo.
Yeah. Right. It's not worth it.
There's no easy way to keep your head shaven, really. I mean, you're either a woman, or you have cancer, or you have to shave your head.
Yeah, the complexities of life.
Yeah. I'm so going to hell for that.
That's all right, Jab. There's no hell, Jab. Don't let them tell you there's a hell. There's no such place. We're in hell now.
I don't care if there isn't a hell. I'm still going.
Don't make one just for you, huh? Oh, I better stop. Okay, next news article. We heard, what was it? Indiana was going to, get rid of gay marriage. Well, Maine is going to have gay marriage. They got a bill before the Maine legislature that's going to bring gay marriage about in Maine. Hopefully, anyway. They're talking about it. Let's see here. What was next on the list? Oprah made this was great this week, and that Oprah had this reverend from California on, Reverend Ed Bacon, who made the statement on Oprah's show that being gay is a gift from God. And man, the uproar!
Wow.
Those couple words caused such an uproar that you cannot believe.
Oh, I can believe it.
I got to play a sound clip because this lady sent me a voicemail. I always put out my voicemail number for when, people who call in when the show's not live. This lady left me voicemail. The first time anyone has called and left me voicemail, and it was over this article that I put out on the show. So let me play this voicemail clip.
This was in reference to the gay talk, and I'm talking about when the priest and the spiritual leaders were on Oprah Winfrey, and when they said that being gay was a gift from God. I have been a fan of Oprah's for many years and watched it religiously. However, after that was said, I have decided I will no longer watch her shows or listen because I do not agree with that at all, and I do not think they should be promoting that because it is not a gift from God, being gay. I do not believe it. The Bible says that homosexuality is not right. Thank you.
Wow.
There you go, girl. Yeah, right?
Well, I mean, first of all, Oprah isn't the one who said it. And Oprah, at least I don't think she is. I didn't actually see it. But is Oprah the one who said it? No.
No.
One of her guests said it. It would be just like if a guest came on any of these shows, your show, and said something. So we're going to close. That just seems a bit closed-minded to me.
Oh, yeah, it kind of, like I said, it says more about the person that said the words than it does about Oprah.
Right. It's like you've been watching Oprah shows all these years, and that's the only thing that offended you? Okay. All right.
Yeah, that actually, yeah. Man, that sounded articulate. That's really, you're definitely right. If you've been watching Oprah for a long time, and that's the first thing that offended you, you weren't really watching.
Okay? Yes, I agree.
Okay, now I'm going to jump to this piece because we're running short on time. So I'm going to jump to this piece from yesterday because I had so much fun with this one that I just can't resist but put it on again because, and I know even Jab kind of got a kick out of it. And it's regarding this show. I gotta put up the little warning here and preface this a little bit because I don't want to freak anybody out. But there's a new science fiction movie out. It's a low-budget science fiction comedy, and the name of the movie is called Horror in the Wind, and it was came about in New Mexico, and they had a couple live screenings of it, and they've all been sold out. And it's to give a setup here of it, it's set on the storyline of in 2017, Pat Robertson and James Dobson wins the White House with the campaign theme of the war on sex. Robertson spreads an untested airborne chemical, and it's a sex suppression formula throughout the world. And to everyone's shock, this formula does not suppress sex drive, but it changes it. And within a week, the entire world is gay. And eventually people prefer it and amend the Constitution to ban heterosexual marriage. Also in the movie, they have the Princess Diana Bible, which comes about, and it damns heterosexuals instead of homosexuals. So it's kind of a spoof kind of thing. But I put together this little audio clip using some voice software where I did it myself, and I used 3 different voices using this software, and I wanted to play this clip now because I think it's hilarious. So I hope y'all enjoy it. And I'm going to mute everybody so that y'all can crack up during it and not worry about talking over, and I'll unmute you afterwards. And that way, because I think y'all are going to laugh when you hear this. And so here we go.
Okay, for those of you who are going to get upset over this piece, I have one word for you: satire. Leviticus International promises to help miserable straights become ex-straights. Brother Richard of Leviticus says anyone can become a happy, well-adjusted gay or lesbian through the power of prayer and Jesus Christ. Revision Studios, famous for the Princess Diana Gay Bible, has launched Leviticus International, a new website which promises to help unhappy straights become gay. According to film producer Max Mitchell, creator of the site, Jesus Christ has the power to end heterosexuals' misery and to make them happy, well-adjusted gays. Mitchell recently produced Horror in the Wind about 2 biogeneticists who invented an airborne formula that reverses the whole world's sexual orientation. Leviticus International says straights can be born again gay through prayer and Jesus Christ.
My name is Joseph Bo Kelly from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm a former heterosexual. My compulsive attraction to women led me to 2 suicide attempts. Now that I'm gay, suicide never crosses my mind. My partner Todd and I share so much more than I ever did with my 4 ex-wives. I thank God for taking that sinful hetero disorder away.
How does it work? I got on my knees and asked Jesus to release me from the spell cast by women. It took months and months of prayer until I started noticing guys' butts. Then I met Todd at church. The next thing I knew, it was Super Bowl, baby. We were so excited by the game, well, let's just say there was dancing in the end zone. We moved out of the trailer into an Italian palazzo with topiary and an herb garden. I can't thank Reverend Carl enough. I'm living proof that prayer really works.
Hi, my name is Mary Bermanoff of Dearborn, another ex-straight. I'm truly born again. Who knew Jesus could make me a happy lesbian? 20 years with a man who smelled and never once emptied the recycle bin on the computer was just more than I could take. My girlfriend Janine, she actually cooks and brings me coffee in bed. Hallelujah! I no longer have to be drunk to have sex.
Visitors to the Leviticus International website at www.leviticus.international.com can watch video testimonials and email Jesus questions about becoming gay. According to Mitchell, Jesus did not have a spam folder and answers every question. Read testimonials from people who got lucky on the Prayed and Got Laid page. A sample of the revised Book of Leviticus is available at the website. Leviticus International saves straights from hetero hell, a place of misery where people pretend to believe in equality for all but are really trying to keep gays second class. Hetero hell causes them to believe they are better than others even while living in single-wide trailers. According to Brother Richard, Jesus will pluck you from hetero hell and gently toss you into homo heaven. Ask any convert. Ask the youth groups we host. Ask the elderly who got out just in time. Hetero hell is its own punishment, complete with spousal abuse and spoiled children. Don't let it happen to you. Ask God to put you in homo heaven. You can email Jesus at askjesus@LeviticusInternational.com. You can email Jesus at askjesus@LeviticusInternational.com. Reverend Carl Kuchner, pastor at the Trailer of God in New Orleans, says that Leviticus has a very high success rate. I can take credit for it. It's the power of Jesus, not me. In the Princess Diana Bible, it says it's an abomination for a man to lay with a woman. That's my ministry, saving people from this sinful lifestyle. You can see their faces when they find gay love. You can see God in their eyes. Samples of the new Princess Diana Bible are available at www.princessdianabible.com.
Okay, bringing everybody back on the line here.
That's messed up, man.
Oh, it was hilarious.
It can be both at the same time.
Oh.
Poor Jab had to listen to that twice now.
Yeah, I'm tough. I can stick it out.
Oh yeah, Jab is tough. I can see that. He's clearly tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's
that was
right.
priceless. That was priceless.
Yeah.
Tom, that was definitely creativity at its best.
The preacher guy, the voice you did for the preacher guy sounded like exactly what I would figure a gay preacher would sound like. Southern Baptist thing going on, but he's also got the high feminist thing going on too.
Those are actually real websites, folks. That LeviticusInternational.com and the PrincessDianaBible.com and HorrorinTheWind.com. It's all a promotion gimmick for the movie, but it's the real deal. It's not all BS. You could actually go to those websites and see this conversion therapy stuff, and la 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 la. It's hilarious. I just think the promotion, whoever put this promotion together is just a genius. Cracked me up. I know. I played it for charred the first night I made it.
Yeah, but he didn't know what it was, so he
boy, it turned his
he didn't
stomach.
like you after that.
Well, folks, we just got the 90-second warning, so we got to wrap up things here and end the show for today. But I sure thank everybody for calling in and participating with me on this show. This was a great show. I had so much fun today.
Me too. Thank you.
Me too. Yes.
Me too.
So, Joshua, have a great weekend. Jam, have a great weekend. And Miss Laugh-A-Lot, have a great weekend. And I hope all of y'all have a great week next week, too.
I'll see you tomorrow on the round table.
Yep, tomorrow's our round table. We're going to discuss separation of church and state and more things, I'm sure. So y'all have a good one.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Throw out the love to everybody here, and then we'll be out of here. I better find it here real quick before the show ends. Here we go.
I love you, and you, and you. Oh, and you too. And don't forget him. I love her, and him, and her, and him, and him, and her. I love you all.
Oh, everybody have a great weekend and a great week coming up. We'll see you on tomorrow morning's show at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Bye-bye for now.